Hey, what's going on, Pips crew? What's going on? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy to get into the charts this week. Last week, a lot of kids were graduating, so we was doing the family thing. And it was also Memorial Day weekend, so wanted to have an opportunity to kind of kick it with the family, and so we back at it this week. And if any of y'all had any kids or anything to graduate and things like that, congratulations to you. But we're gonna get ready to hop into these charts today. I'm excited. Another thing as well is we just came out of NFP. So I hope that some of you guys took heed to the news and things like that, and that no one took any L's and things like that. You were smart within the market, so yeah, we'll look at that too. We'll look at what happened with NFP. It wasn't as huge as it usually be, but it was some movement and things like that. So if you did trade NFP, like I said, I hope you guys were profitable and didn't lose any money. And we're gonna get started in about another couple minutes. We're gonna wait for a few more people to jump on, and then we'll get in it. And as always, you guys, if you guys have any pairs that you'd like me to mark up or you'd like to see, please put them in the chat, and I'll be happy to mark those up for you. It's gonna be a good one, y'all. It's gonna be a good one. CAD JPY. Okay, I got you. No problem, no problem. We'll definitely look at that one as well. Make sure I jot that down. All right, you guys, so it's 5 minutes past the hour. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Y'all know how we do. We're gonna start off with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. I want to thank you for life, health, and strength. Lord, I pray that anyone on this call be blessed by what is said today. I pray that everyone is healthy and safe. I pray for everyone's families. And I pray that this resource will be a tool that can help someone financially or possibly become financially free. Lord, I thank everyone on this call. And we thank and praise you for everything that you've done for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all, let's jump into it. Like I said, we missed last week, so it seemed like we haven't been on in a while. And so, like I said, we was coming out of graduations and all of that, so we were doing a family thing. So, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it, you guys. All right, so we're looking at Forex Factor. Let's kind of look and see what's going on within the week. As we can see, Sunday, not too much action going on, and I don't really trade a lot on Sundays. I kind of let Sundays and possibly Mondays kind of let the markets kind of settle into each other and kind of see exactly what the pairs are going to do from our markups that we pretty much do on Sundays. Okay, as we can see, Sunday night around 11:30 Central Time, we can see Australia, the Aussie dollar has some red folders and things like that, so we want to be mindful of that. And for anyone who trades gold as well, when the Aussie dollar moves, that affects gold as well. So if you trade gold and you see this news with Australian dollar, be mindful of that. Okay, that's for Monday night, tomorrow. For Tuesday, it looks like at 9 a.m. Central Time, the CAD has an orange folder. So we might see a little movement there on Tuesday. Let's go into Wednesday. Look like the markets look like we actually might get maybe a smooth market without a lot of interference from the news this week. We'll see. I mean, because these folders can change as the days go on, but as you can see, we're just coming out of NFP, so it's not a lot of movement possibly going into this week. Wednesday looks to be, no huge news on Wednesday, so that should be a pretty clear, smooth trading day. And then Thursday is where the fireworks start to happen. As we can see, almost literally 45 minutes after the open of New York, the euro has some movement. Also at 7:30, and then USD unemployment claim, so that might be a nice movement with USD as well. So we'll definitely look at the euro just to see exactly possible setups and things like that, and how we can possibly capitalize off of that. And we can also see at 10 a.m. Central, the CAD, the Canadian dollar has a red folder as well. Governor Macklem will be speaking. And then on Friday, we have CAD as well. So this looked like a big week for the Canadian dollar. And then just to end off the week, you can see we got CPI with USD. And so one of the things that I want to look at, I can see the week right after, going into the second week of the month, we got a CPI on USD CAD. So one of the things I've noticed, if we go back to May, and let's look at the second week of May and see if we had something similar to that. Let's look at this entire week for May and see if we had a CPI, because one of the things that I want to do, check this out. So we had a CPI on that second week, which is the 11th. And so I want to go back in the markets and look and see exactly what the markets were doing at that time, because we can possibly gauge to see, okay, CPI affected the market in this way on this day, and we can come back and kind of look at that and possibly put a marker there to say, okay, at this time we might see this type of movement as well. Okay, so that's one of the things that that I want to look at as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the markets, you guys. Hey Sean, what's going on, man? Glad you can join today. All right, you guys, so first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna start off with GU. And so as you guys can see, overall, let's look at the weekly for a second. We can see that on the weekly, let's see, we're bearish on the weekly time frame. As you can see, we got a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and here's another lower high here. Possibly if it breaks this area here, that's going to impulse to another lower low. But if we drop to the daily and kind of look at market structure from the daily perspective, we can see we're following that same trend. And so in this area here, this is our last daily lower high, and we can see that we actually had a break of structure in this area right here, and price is starting to pull back. And so if we throw our Fibonacci tool on here, from this swing low here up to this swing high, we can see that price hasn't necessarily come within our golden zone up in here, but it is kind of resting within this large demand zone, because we can see this is the last down candle before the up move. And so from there, we can kind of notate that from a daily perspective, even though it's pretty large, but we can notate this as a demand zone, and we'll notate this as a daily demand zone. So price is actually already in this area. Okay. So price is wicking in this area, but we don't necessarily want to look for any buys or sells or anything until it kind of hits 50%. And so anyway, we're still, we're possibly looking for a retest in this area for price to impulse to a higher and possibly go higher, because we had a break of structure here. And let's notate that. We had a daily BOS right here. We had a daily break of structure. So we want to see that pull back within 50%. And so if we kind of look at what happened last week, there was a move that I capitalized off of here. And so we had a break of structure on the 15-minute. Price came back to retest within 50% of our fibs. So if I put a fibs on here, you can see price came back within this area. And once it broke, came back and gave a retest. I actually caught a 1-to-19 trade here, and I wrote it down to this area here, these equal lows here. It was a pretty good week last week, but we want to kind of notice and see what we can capitalize on for this week. And so if we come down to the 4 hour, let's kind of see what market structure is giving us on the 4 hour. As we can see, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And as we can see, let's see for a second. Of course, we got the break of structure on the 4 hour as well. And so from the 4 hour perspective, we came back for a retest. So we can move this down to this area here. Actually right here. And it wasn't a clear break of structure. It was a wick through, but we still want to be mindful of it. Of this area here, this wick through, which is a 4 hour break of structure. So I want to kind of sort of be patient, because for break of structures, I want to see a little bit more movement for it to break through a little bit and then come back and give us the retest. But as we can see, it actually did come back and retest more than 50% within our golden zone. It came back to the 61.8 perfectly. And what did it do? It hit the supply zone right here. It hit the supply zone, and then it started to dip to the downside. So one of the things I possibly want to see is, because we've already kind of missed this, and this was something that I kind of caught last week, because we're not on this right now, I'm looking for price to possibly come to this -27, which is right in confluence with our 50% area. So if it gets down there, then we want to kind of look at price and see exactly what it's going to do. We want to see if it possible give us a break of structure on the 15-minute to possibly go up, or price might actually come down to the 61.8. We don't know, but I'm looking for price to give us some sort of movement within this huge daily demand zone. That way we can understand and see exactly what price is going to do. Okay, so one of the things I want to do is possibly put an alert right before this 50%. So I'll put it right here at 1.24400. No, I'll bring it down a little bit further, possibly 1.24300. That way it'll alert us to let us know that price is getting close to the 50%. We can possibly take a look at price and see what it's going to do. GU approaching golden zone. That's what we'll say. Hey, what's going on, Tapilo, Sister Beck? How y'all doing? Okay, so I'll go ahead and put this on here. So this is an alert in case you guys want to check this out, and mark this alert as well. Alert at 1.24300, and that's what we're looking at for GU. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at EU. Let's see. So with EU, we pretty much almost have some of the same similarities with GU. However, this break of structure that we have on a daily is a huge break of structure. So now these are the type of break of structures that I look for. So I definitely want to look for a pullback. And so we can notate this, that it broke the last daily lower high. So we had a daily break of structure in this area here, and we want to look for a pullback. So a couple of things that we see, we have two bullish order blocks here that created two demand zones, two continuation demand zones, because we have a bullish bearish bullish, which impulsed to another bullish bearish bullish. So let's throw our Fibonacci tool on here just to see exactly where we are, because we can see prices starting to pull back. So first area of demand that we have is this area here, right at our 50%. So we can notate this as a demand zone. And then we also have another demand zone right here. And we'll actually put this as a different color. Let's do red. That's a little too much. Hold on. Let's we'll say demand zone, but we're gonna change the color of this to possibly a purple or something like that. Yeah. Okay. So that way, one of the things we possibly want to see is price to come down to this area, and pretty much see exactly what it's going to do. So I'm going to put an alert right here, possibly at this 1.06 thousand. That way we can see exactly what price is going to do within that area. And once it gets down to this area, we can kind of see exactly what it's going to do. Let's look at the 4 hour for a second, because we might be able to capitalize off of what's going on right now. Okay, let's see this for a second. Okay, we have 3 strikes down. So check this out, you guys. So right now, one of the things that I'm seeing is a possible distribution in this area. And so let's mark this up. So basically what we can do, we can look at this point up here as our U tab, because this is the highest point. And this is on the 4 hour though. Let me drop to a lower time frame. One of the things I can see on the 4 hour though is in this area here, we have an imbalance that needs to close on this 4 hour. And so let's look at price as of right now. We can see on the 4 hour, we had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We had a break of structure, a 4 hour break of structure in this area here. And we can see price came back for the pullback. Okay. Now, one of the things for me personally, I want to see if we can possibly get this pullback to come up to this imbalance, close it out, and then dip off to the downside. That would be more ideal. But let's drop down to the 1 hour just to see if we had any break of structures on the 1 hour that's possibly going to turn around. I don't see anything on the 1 hour. Let's drop to the 15-minute. So on a 15-minute time frame, we can see market structure is a little bit choppy and it's not exactly clean in this area. So let's see, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Let's see, higher high. So higher high, higher low. So we can kind of look at this. It already kind of had a break of structure on the 15-minute in this area right here. And as we got that break of structure, we can see we already got a pullback as well. Sorry, take it from this highest point. So we already got a pullback to the 78.6, and price is actually starting to go down at this point right now. But like I said, what I will want to see, and I could be wrong on this part here because the market is a little bit choppy on this part, you guys. So one of the things that possibly this could be, instead of these small moves here, this could possibly be one large move to say this is a higher high here, higher low, and then come up to this area and then possibly drop down and give us a breakup structure here. So just because it's not clear, I'm not gonna mark this or notate that as my breakup structure, just because like I said, it's a bit choppy and it don't have clean, concise moves. So I don't wanna necessarily deem this little small area here as a breakup structure. I wanna wait to see exactly what happens in this area, okay? That way we can see, you know, if price will come up to this 4-hour imbalance, because that'll be a little bit ideal for me to kind of see something in that perspective. Or I can see there's an imbalance here as well. There's a small imbalance in this area right here that has not been closed as well. And this is on the 15-minute. So it can come up and hit any one of these marks here to possibly, you know, bounce off of this and go to the downside. Let's see something for a second. Okay, so now I can actually see Wyckoff start to play out a bit. So check this out, you guys. So we can mark this highest point as our UTAD. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yep, this here can be our UT. This area here could be our BC, which is our buying climax. All right, so now since we have 3 drives down from here, we can start to notate our support and resistance lines. Now, one thing I want you guys to notice, and this is what I saw, reason why I chose this area here for my BC. Let me get my dash lines on here right quick, my support and resistance lines. And if I move this down to this area here, because this is my automatic rally, and this is the distribution that's forming here, you guys. This is my AR. Now, one of the things I want you guys to see is you notice that with this imbalance, it's almost perfectly lined up with the BC. And when you get instances like this where price rallies from an area, that's your blind climax, or if you're in an accumulation, if it does that from your selling climax, this area here is called trading range alignment. And basically, when you have trading range alignment, these are high probable areas for price literally to come up, bounce off of this area, and then shoot down quickly to the downside. Okay, so this area here is a high level area for me, a high level confluence for me, that price will possibly come back up to this area, tap off of this area here, and then dip to the downside. So one of the things that I want to notate as well is this area here, which is my minor sign of weakness, my MSAL. And in this area, usually the MSAL, when price breaks this area here, this is where you actually get your breakup structure, when you're coming out of a distribution with Wyckoff. So this is my 15-minute BOS right here. And as you can see, we broke down and price kept going down. So I want to see price come up to this area here and then dip off a little bit more. This is a test, this area here, and this is a confluence that I would like to see, because if price could do something like this, you know, depending on your risk tolerance, for me, I can take a sell here, possibly put it above this UTAD, and make sure that you're governing yourself, you know, risk management and things like that. And so this could be a sell entry here, possibly. If I move this over, possibly catch a sell entry here. Stop loss is above the protected high here. And you can literally ride this down to let's see, because my minimum is a 1 to 3. I don't take anything less than a 1 to 3. So you can possibly ride it down to this area here. These equal lows. You see we have, you know, action right here. And if you look at this is a 1 to 5.8 risk reward. This is 110 pips that you can possibly look for on this particular trade. And if you want to look at bank levels, just to make sure that you're in confluence with that, you can move this down to this 1.0600, or you can move it down to 1.0500 here, which is a mid-level, right at these areas here, whichever one you decide. But for me, I actually like this area here. And so that would be a trade confluence that I would be looking for EU. And like I said, we have a lot of EU news that's going on this week. So that's a high probable trade for me if price can possibly come back up here. So one of the things I want to do, I want to set an alert possibly at this 1.067600 area. That way, if price get back up here, you know, I can possibly look at, you know, taking a sell limit on this. I'll be comfortable with taking a sell limit on that, putting my stop loss above that protected high right there. So let's kind of look at this for a second. EU approaching POI. Dale Clouds, what's going on, man? All right. All right, alert at 1.76. Oh, there we go. All right, you guys. Yeah, so I want to look at price as possibly what I want to see price do. Possibly come up to this area. Maybe tap off of this imbalance or this imbalance and then shoot to the downside. Because like I said, we're still, if we're looking at this from a daily perspective, we still have to make it down to this area here, to this 50% before price starts to turn around and then shoot back up. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. So currently right now, I'll be looking for sales with EU. And, you know, taking into consideration of the news that we got with EU this week, that can possibly happen, you know, on some of those, you know, those days that we're looking at. You know, let's go back to that right quick. Let's go to, so we got EU news on Thursday. So Thursday we can definitely look for some big movement for EU and kind of look at that and see what it's going to do. All right, you guys, I hope that helps with EU. So I kind of like how that's setting up, because I feel like we're still got some room to come up here and then kind of dip off to the downside. Okay, all right, let's look at USD CAD, because we can see that the Canadian dollar has a lot of movement that's going to happen within this week as well. All right, so as we can see with USD CAD, we are still bullish. We're in an uptrend. We have a higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. And now some who are new will probably wonder, why didn't I choose this area here? So this is actually noise, because it never broke structure. You know, our actual structure from a macro perspective are these huge moves here. Okay, and because this is our last daily higher low, the structure is not broken until the last higher low is broken, and we don't have continuation until the last daily higher high is broken. So as you can see from here, it broke in this area here, and this is our last daily higher high. Now we don't have a higher low yet until price come down and break this last higher high. Once we get a higher high, then we have a confirmed higher low down in this area. So because we're in this area, we're possibly in the area for a higher low. So if we come here and we throw our Fibonacci tool, we can see that it's well within our golden zone, actually wicking off the 78.6. and it's also sitting in this huge demand area on the daily time frame. And so we don't necessarily have to mark it up because we can see that it's already down there. But let's drop to the 4 hour just to see what confluences we have within that area as well. And so I can tell we have an imbalance right here that needs to be filled. And it looks like I got an alert that's already targeting that area. So we can mark this imbalance right here, because I would like to see price come back to this area. We have a great imbalance here. And so currently I have an alert at, let me put this at 40 just to make it, I'll put it at 200. Okay, so we have an alert in this area here, 1.25, 200. And so one of the things I would like to see is for price, because this is a 4 hour imbalance, I would like to see price come tap into this imbalance here, give some sort of Wyckoff accumulation, and then shoot up to the upside. And so with this, if we can catch that down in this area and catch maybe a 15-minute break of structure or something like that, we got a lot of room to go, you guys. We have a lot of room to go. So this is a trade that you can literally sit in for a while, because we're still in up structure. We're looking for the market to pretty much continue to go up. Until we break this area here, we're not looking for sales, really. We're still looking for buys. So we want to see price come down to this area. But let's drop to the 15-minute just to kind of look at structure and what it's doing in this area right now. So as you can see, from a 15-minute perspective, let's see. I mean, we got these huge moves, low, lower high, lower low. So we're still in down structure on the 15-minute time frame. So this is possibly a lower high, which will give us an impulse down to a lower low coming into this imbalance area down here. So that's what I see on USD CAD. And like I said, we have some Canadian news, which can push it down to this area as well, and then shoot it all the way back up to the upside. So if we catch an entry or somewhere down in this area here, one of the first areas that you can look at to take profit is this 1.27 area here, or you can look at price coming to take out this liquidity area right here in this area. And so we can look at price possibly coming to take out this area, but we don't necessarily want to look at that as of yet until we see price come into this area and give us a break of structure. So like I said, we possibly might see an accumulation or something form in this area down here, and then possibly give us a break of structure on the 15-minute, retest, and then shoot to the upside. Okay, so we'll wait for price to come into this area and alert us, and we'll see exactly what happens. But before that, we can actually, just in case it don't get down to this area, let's go ahead and place a break of structure, 15-minute break of structure alert right here, because price can do that sometimes. It might not dip all the way down, but you know, we can set a alert right here, USD CAD 15-minute BOS. And if we get that, we understand that, okay, price don't necessarily want to go down that far to that imbalance. It wants to start going back up now. So what we can do, we can see this break of structure, retest, and then shoot to the upside. You said the alert settings, Sister Beck. So for the alert, this alert here, I have it at 1.25 200, which is close to this 4 hour imbalance that I have down here. And I also set an alert here. Let me do it another bubble here. I set another alert at 1.26 852. Alert at, I set it here just in case we get a break of structure. If we get that break of structure, that lets me know that price is going to start to go to the upside. So on here we have an alert at 1.25 200 and one at 1.26852. I hope that helps. Okay. All right, that's what I pretty much see on USD CAD. Yeah, this could be a really good trade, you guys. I mean, if we catch something like this, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm extremely active within our chat this week. That way, when these alerts go off, I'm gonna let you guys know, hey, these alerts went off. Hey, this is what happened. Let's start looking at the market. That's pretty much what I have on USD CAD. All right, let's look at G-Chef for a second. Let's go to the daily. And as we can see, we're in down structure on the daily time frame. We have a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, okay? And then on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we're still in down structure as well. One of the things I want to show you guys, so looking back at, I want to show you guys something. Looking back at EU, how we were talking about trading range alignment and all of that kind of thing. There was a trade last week on G-Chef where I would show you guys the exact same thing. And I think I actually still have the markups here. Yes, check this out. So here's a trade that I caught last week. So check this out. Here is a distribution. You can see we have a UTAD, UT, ST, and a BC. And right here for our buying climax, what do you guys see? If I drop down to a smaller time frame, I'll show you guys exactly where it is. Okay, this one was a little different. So it wasn't an imbalance, but this was an order block. 50% of this order block. So I talk about that a lot in a couple of videos that I've done talking about the 50% order block strategy. So as you guys can see, it's within 50% of this order block, and it's right in confluence with this BC, which gives us 30-minute trading range alignment. What did price do? It literally came up to this area, wicked in, and it shot off to the downside. That's exactly what it did. And so when you look at that, whenever you have like I said, whenever you have a distribution setting, a Wyckoff distribution schematic setup, and you see a POI kind of up, high, maybe around your test or even your UTAD, when you see that and you have trading range alignment, those are high probability trade zones for you to be able to take, possibly set your limits. Now, no strategy is 100% perfect, but from the experience that I've had with trading Wyckoff, whenever you have trading range alignment, those are high probability areas. Okay, that's one of the things I want to let you guys know. As you can see, it literally wicked and this thing took off, and this was a 1 to 7 risk reward on this. 10 pip stop loss, went to a 71 pip trade. I took it right down to this liquidity area here, and it was actually a really good trade. And so one of the things I want to show you guys is we have another possible, let me go ahead and remove this right quick because that was last week. But I wanted to show you how that confluence ties into EU, that possible EU setup that we were looking at. So currently right now, I think there was a possible accumulation that was forming on this particular pair, but I'm not sure. Hold on, I'm trying to see if I had it previously marked up, which I don't believe I did. But anyway, as you guys can see, this is our daily lower low, and price is still declining, which I think price might possibly break this lower low before it decides to go back up, because this gray area here, this is a 4-hour imbalance that happened a long time ago that never ever got filled. If we come over here, I'm sorry, that's not a 4-hour imbalance. Let me see what time frame that is. But I do know that this is an imbalance. I want to mark that time frame up. There we go. 3-hour. It's a 3-hour imbalance right here. Make this a little bigger. It's a 3-hour imbalance in this area right here that never was filled. And so I want to see if price can possibly come down to that area probably wick that area and then possibly give us some sort of Wyckoff schematic, you know, possibly come down here, tap into this area, give us some sort of Wyckoff schematic, break of structure, retest, and then shoot to the upside, to possibly come back to give us that lower high, so to speak. And so that's one of the things I want to look at for this. And so I do have in this area, this is our last point for our 4-hour structure. Let me make this bigger, you guys. I'm sorry. This is our last point for our 4-hour structure. If it breaks this lower low here, then I will possibly move this down in this area here, and we'll kind of see exactly what the market gives us. So in this area here, I'll possibly put 2 alerts, one for this 4-hour break of structure, and then one for if it breaks this daily lower low down here, we'll know that this daily lower low needs to be moved a little lower. Okay. Can you mark up? Okay, I got you, Room. Okay, so we got GBP Chef, 4-hour BOS. And I'll set the alert bubble so we'll know exactly what it is. Alert at okay, alert at 1.2815, and then I want to set another alert right here at this daily lower low just to see if price breaks this, because it'll let me know that, hey, price wants to come back and fill that imbalance. GBP Chef breaks daily lower low, which is at hold on. Copy this. We'll put another alert bubble here, that way we can understand or know exactly what that one is as well. I hope you guys can see those alerts. So I have one at 1.20815 and I have one at 1.19728. Okay, and that's what I have on G-Chef. So last but not least, we're going to look at gold, and then I'm going to get to you guys' markups within the chat. Let's look at gold right quick. All right. So as we can see with gold is bearish as well. We can see on the daily time frame, we have a daily lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And as we can see, gold was approaching this supply zone that we had, which is right around this 78.6 area. It didn't quite get up there. I had an alert up in this area. It didn't quite get up here, but I still think it still possibly have some room to go. So if we drop down to the 4-hour to kind of look and see exactly what price is doing, let's see. We can see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is possibly giving us a higher low in this area right here. And look at this, you guys. On the 4-hour time frame, we have an imbalance right here. We have an imbalance that just wicked in for this area right here, which this is also a demand zone that price needed to come down to. Price wicked into this area here. And so if we drop down to a smaller time frame just to look and see what price is doing, price is possibly forming maybe Wyckoff on a smaller time frame. Yeah, it is. So check this out. On this 5-minute time frame, we can see that we have in this area here, we have a SC, which is a selling climax. So this is an accumulation schematic. dips into a automatic rally, which is our AR. So once you have these 2 points here, that's where you can actually start developing your support and resistance lines. So this area here, we can notate as our resistance lines. This down here can be our support lines. Okay, let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. Remove this. So from here, we have some other structural points as well. Well, we have an ST, which is a secondary test. Okay, and so this turns out to be a schematic too, without the spring, because usually what I would like to see is for price to come down, dip into this area a little further, and then shoot up, but we might not have that. However, let's look at this from a 15-minute perspective to see if we got a break of structure anywhere though, which I don't see on the 15-minute, but let's go back to the 5-minute. We can see from a 5-minute perspective, we had a lower low, lower high, lower low, and so we're possibly getting into the area, and so we actually do have a break of structure, but it's kind of minor to me. So I want to see if it will come down a little bit further, but you can kind of consider or classify this as a break of structure. And then what price wants to do with this break of structure is come back to retest the area before it shoots off. And so we can see that we definitely have another imbalance here that can possibly be filled before price, decides to shoot back up. Purple imbalance here. And so, we can possibly see that. We can possibly see price come down, shoot to this area, and then go back to the upside. Because if we're looking from a big picture perspective, remember right now, we're still in bullish momentum, because if we mark our, because I want to see price tap into this area. So we can look at this here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay. So that's some of the things that I can see on a 4-hour perspective, because I can see these movements here. And so I want to see price dip into this supply zone. And then from there, I'm looking for massive sales from a daily perspective, because gold, it respects the 78.6 a lot. And so I want to see it dip into this supply zone. And if that's the case, I will possibly be looking for sales to literally take all the way down to possibly the 1760 area. And those are huge pips, you guys, because if we can get a trade here and write it down here, that's over 1,200 pips. Depending on your psychology, if you're a swing trader and you will stay in something that long, that would be a consideration. Hold on, let me look into the chat. Price break of structure on the 4-hour, and then it came back to fill the imbalance. Yep, yeah, I saw that. But this will be something that we definitely want to look at. As you can see right here, I have an alert alerting right before the supply zone. But let's drop back down to that 5-minute, because that's something that I want to see if price can dip into this area. Because like I said, this is a break of structure here on the 5-minute, but I would like to see it come up just a tad bit higher before it come down here. So I'll set an alert right here at 1850, just to kind of see exactly what it's going to do. Gold approaching 5-minute POI, just to see exactly what happens, you guys, because like I said, I don't want to rush into anything with this, but I want to see exactly what's going to happen. One of the things I do want to go back to look at though when we were looking at this, we noticed that USD news gave us a CPI, okay? And this was the second week right after NFP. So let's go back to May and look at that second week. So we can see exactly what the market did. And as you can see, second week of May, we got a CPI, and that was 730 on May 11th. So let's go back and look at that just to see exactly what happened. And I'm gonna do the 30-minute. So we're gonna see exactly what price did at that point. So we're gonna go back to May 11th. Was that May 11th? Yeah, May 11th. Okay, May 11th at 7:30. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, right here. Let me put a horizontal line right here, you guys. And we're gonna break this down and look and see what the market did at that point. Right here. All right, let's make this bigger. So as we can see, this candle right here is the May, I don't know if you guys can see that. This is the May 11th, 7:30. This was the CPI news for USD. Okay. And let's look and see how big this candle is. So this was the 100 pip candle right here. We can see what the market did within this area. I'll move this over a little bit. Oh, we got this huge wick. So this candle, this entire huge 730 candle was about 150 pips. Okay. So this was the move right here. And I'm going to put a box around this. That way we understand what this was right here. And I'll probably notate this like that. That way we can see that. And I'll put an alert bubble on this as well. So this is one of the things that I do when I'm back testing, to actually look and see when you have news coming for the upcoming week, you can kind of see exactly what happened from previous data. Okay, so we can mark this and say this was USD. Let's see what it was. USD CPI May 11th at 7:30. Okay, AM. So we know, we can probably put a note and say price moved 110 pips, one candle. Okay, so we know at that time the market moved 110 pips and then it decided to go the other way. Because look at that, that could have been a huge fake out. You know, people thought the market was going to shift to the downside. It moved 110 pips and then the market started to come to the upside, but then from there it dipped off. Okay, so we see that that's something that happened at that point. Now if we go back and we look and see, let's go back, okay, on the second week of June, we got CPI that's gonna happen this Thursday, June 10th. Okay, so one of the things that we can do to capitalize on that, just to kind of get ahead of the market, to kind of look and see how that's gonna play out, we can set alerts for ourselves before that happens. So we can come here and say, okay, let's see when June 10th is. We can kind of scroll right here. This is 7:30, June 10th right here. Bam. So what we can do, you guys, with something like this, we can set an alert on this horizontal line to say USD CPI news 7:30 AM. we can set it right on this vertical line, you guys. But one of the things that I would do, I wouldn't necessarily set it right at 7:30. What I would do is I would drop it down to possibly, let's see. Let me go to the, let's go to the 20-minute time frame. 20-minute. So I would move this to 7:20. Let's see. 7:20 instead of 7:30. That way it can alert us, 20 minutes before, or maybe 5 minutes before. We can understand, and we can put in a bubble here as well, to say, USD, or that news is going to hit right here. So that's another confluence that we can do to kind of get ahead of the market, to kind of see or kind of anticipate when news is going to come. So when you have these things like this, one of the things you should do, go back and look and see what the market did previously, last month, because it usually recycles itself and does the same thing over and over. Look at that second week. Like, for example, if I go back and look at, I didn't do that for CAD. Let's see if we did that for the Canadian dollar, because we can see the Canadian dollar has some news. Let's see if it has any news in that time. So so it looked like the Canadian dollar don't have any huge confluences like that in this week. Let's look at the third week and see. Canadian dollar has CPI as well. Okay. Let's go to the fourth week. But I see with the Canadian dollar, there was a guy that was speaking, so I don't see anything about a guy speaking or anything like that with Canadian dollar. So retail sales, preliminaries. Okay. So I don't see any confluences with that guy speaking. So that's possibly something huge, because he didn't speak last month. So if we notice for USD CAD, this guy Macklem is speaking. So this is possibly something that's huge. We got employment change as well for the Canadian dollar. I didn't see that on the last one. So yeah, you can definitely do those type of things to kind of get ahead of the market, to see exactly what's going to happen, when it gets to this point. So that's one of the things I kind of do when I back test. I'll go back and look at the news previously from the last month, and then I'll go and I'll kind of mark those areas up. That way we can kind of see exactly what's going to happen. And, that's the same thing with, we can go back and look at, hold on, let me see something. Let me go back to the 30-minute for a second. That was May 11th, right, you guys, that we were looking at? Yeah, May 11th at 7:30. I'm curious at what happened with like the euro and things like that on May 11th. I'm just curious. May 11th at 7:30, which is right here. Look at that. Same thing with the euro. Let me move this to the side for a second. Let's see how big this euro candle is. It's about 47 pips. And gold moves a lot faster or bigger. But I mean, that's a possible 50 pips. But you can see it's the same exact move that happened on gold. We got this area right here from that CPI. And so basically we can notate that, and then we can come back to the euro, and we can do that on every USD pair that we trade. And we can say, okay, at 7:30 at this time on June 10th, we know we got CPI that's going to happen, and we want to mark that and notate that. That way we understand that there's going to be some movement within the market. It could be like this. We don't know, but you never know. We can go back another month if we wanted to see what happened in April. I'm not going to do that now, but we can just kind of look at the patterns to kind of get those confluences to help us. Okay. All right, you guys, let's look at, we're going to start off with CAD JPY. Let's check this out right quick. Go to the daily right quick. But that's one of the things I wanted to show you guys. And I hope that helps somebody as far as your markups and your testing and all that stuff for the week. Let's look at CAD JPY. I'm gonna erase all of this stuff here. As we can see, let me look at this on a weekly perspective. I don't know what's all this stuff I got going on. Okay, we can see CAD JPY is extremely bullish right now. And so one of the things I want to do is just start off by just marking up my last, my last points or whatever. So for me, I'll look at this point here. This is the weekly. I'm sorry, let me go to the daily. But we can see it's extremely bullish. But from a daily perspective, let's see. Very low. Very high. Yeah. Okay, so I'll mark off my last points. So this here, this is my last daily higher low. This is a daily higher high. Okay. As you guys can see, we had one here. We had one here. So let me see something. And we can see that this broke, possibly gave us another higher high. Okay, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So for those who see that I didn't choose this, we can see that that's just noise within the market, because we can see it came here, gave us this higher low, gave us some noise, and then kind of shot off. Okay. So these are our structural points here. So we can see that we're still in bullish momentum, and we possibly is looking for a higher high. Are you guys seeing any issues? Testing 1, 2. Open the widget. Okay. So as we can see that we're impulsed to a new higher high. 1 second, you guys. Look like I'm seeing some issues on my side. Okay, we good. All right, you guys. So as you can see, we impulse to a higher high. So from here, let's drop to the 4-hour time frame. And okay, we had this pullback from a 4-hour perspective. You can see we were in down structure, and then from here we had a break of structure on the 4-hour time frame that gave us that impulse to our higher high. 4-hour break of structure here, price is shooting up to this area because we can see low, higher high, higher low. No, wait a second. Lower high, lower low. I'm sorry. Break of structure is here. Yep. This is our 4-hour BOS right here. So one of the things we want to see a pullback within 50% of this area so we can get another higher low. Okay. So we want to see something within this area here. As you can see, 50% within this range, we have an imbalance right at this area right here, right beyond our 50%. Okay. But we also have other imbalances in this area as well. So we want to be patient because we have a lot of different confluences in this area, but I want to notate this demand zone here. And so we can keep this extremely simple in how we approach this. And so basically one of the things that we want to see is for price to possibly come back into this area, give us a break of structure. Hold on, let me delete this. We want to see price possibly do something like this here. Come into this area, give us a break of structure, a retest, and shoot to the upside, which will be a break of structure in this area right here. So that's something that I would like to see, but I mean, any area within this golden zone is fair game. I mean, it can literally come down to this demand zone here as well. But one of the things that we can do is set an alert right here at 101,500. That way it'll let us know it's starting to get to this area, and we can start being mindful of what it is, or this area. So we can set an alert, like I said, alert at 101,500. That way when price starts to get down here, it can alert us, wick into this area, and then start to shoot to the upside. But from this perspective as well, we can possibly capitalize off of sales going to the downside, okay? And so we can see, let me go to the daily or the weekly just to see if we got anything up in this area. So if we come over here to the weekly, we can see that we have a weekly imbalance right here. Because like I said, we can possibly capitalize off some sales where price is currently right now. Oh, I can see prices cross that point. Let me see, price is currently, let me see where price is currently at right now. Let me put a array here. Come back to this area. So we can see prices actually tapping into this weekly supply zone here. And from this area here, oh crap, where'd my supply zone go? Oh, there we go, okay. So from the supply zone, let me do a bar replay for a second. Let me drop it down to the daily so I can see exactly what's going on in that area. So we can refine this a bit to this area here. That's a daily area. Let's go to the 4 hour. Okay, we have a 4 hour imbalance all the way up in this area here. So I don't know if price will make it up there because price is currently down in this area right here. So I don't know if it'll make it all the way up there, but however, we do have a small supply zone right here that price can possibly come tap into. So matter of fact, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this weekly that's in this area, and I'm gonna actually utilize this weekly as my 4 hour supply zone. If it breaks this, then we'll look at something else. But oh, we do have an imbalance right here as well. Yeah, we do got an imbalance in that area. So now let's go back to the current price. And so I want to see price kind of come up into this area here, possibly tap into this imbalance or this supply zone, and then shoot to the downside. And so, yeah, we just want to see what it's going to do, you know, because like I said, it's already in high territory. But if we can catch this, possibly give us some sort of distribution and shoot to the downside, hey, you never know what we'll be looking at, okay? As far as pip count, you know, about 380 pips or so. So for this particular move, I'll be looking for something like this, and then possibly come down to the downside. Okay, I hope that helps for CAD JPY. Let's see the next one. Somebody asked for UK 100. I don't know what that is. I don't know if you're referring to Nas 100, but I don't know what the UK 100 is. Let me go ahead and mark up gold euro. And Tapilo, if you can put in there again what you mean, which pair you were talking about, I can go ahead and look at that one as well. Let's go ahead and look at gold euro right quick. All right, you guys. So let's look at what we got, or what price was doing with this particular pair. Looks like we had a distribution. Price came up to this area, possibly wicking into an imbalance right in this area here, and then shooting to the downside from that distribution. But let's look at the current market structure. Let me remove that distribution though. All of this, move it right up in here. Okay, so currently right now from a daily perspective, lower low, we can start to move some of these down since we're in different areas and different territories. So I can delete these are old. So what we have is lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. I usually like to do the last four. Okay, so as you can see right now, we're in prime territory. So if I throw a fib on here, you can see it literally wicked into the 78.6, and this thing started to dip off to the downside real fast, real quick. If we drop to possibly the 1 hour, we can see higher high, higher low, higher high. We had a break of structure right here on the 1 hour. And I see another confluence on here as well for our retail traders on a 1 hour break of structure. And for our retail traders, I see a head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder, head, shoulder. This break of structure here is the neckline for that head and shoulders right here. So what we can see possibly is for price, if we throw our fibs on this, we want to see price come back into this area before it dips off. So let's look at the 15-minute or so just to kind of see if we have any confluences that it can possibly bounce off of. So if you guys notice, let me take this big fibs away. Right around the 61.8, we have a order block, and the 61.8 is literally plowing 50% within this order block right here. So this is a heavy level of confluence. We can possibly see price come back to this area. If we're looking at this right, just to see if we have any Wyckoff in this area, I'm not seeing it right off the bat. Let me see. It's possible though. I don't see any trading range alignment or anything like that. But yeah, I do see it's right off this 61.8, which is right around this 1734 area. I would like to see price come up to this area here, bounce off of this, and then shoot to the downside. So we can set an alert right here at 1732. And if you want, I mean, you can possibly, you know, maybe ride this up. But if we drop to the 5 minute to see if we had any break of structures or anything, we do actually. From a 5 minute perspective, we had a high. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. So on the 5 minute, if you guys look at this, we had a low, lower high. This one was a little lower. And then we had a break of structure with a small retest. Right here, we had a break of structure, retest, and it's starting to go to the upside right now. So, I mean, you possibly could ride it up to that area. However, me, I would just be a little bit more cautious just because we kind of missed a move, possibly. I mean, if you wanted to do something like this, you know, it's about a 40 pip stop loss. You just have to govern yourself accordingly. and possibly ride it up to this 61.8. But for me, a safer choice would be to wait until it gets up to this area and then dips to the downside. So you can set an alert at 1732 right here. Alert at 1732, and then from there you can watch it wick in and then come on down to the downside. And so for that that confluence, it's on the 15-minute. There's a possible 15-minute 50% strategy that you can possibly catch with this. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can possibly look at that for it to come up in this area and then dip to the downside. Because like I said, price is in bearish momentum right now anyway. It already dipped off, gave you that 1 hour break of structure, and price is looking to come back up. But if you look at this on a 1 hour as well, you can see there's an imbalance right here. That's another confluence right along with that 50% order block strategy. So we just want to make sure that we use all confluences that we can. Right here, you have an imbalance right in that same area that you can look for. Okay. Hey, Rome, man, I hope that helps, man. Let me know. All right, you guys, let's check out, let's look at Nas 100. And then that will be the last one, you guys. Let's see. All right, cool. Let's look at Nas 100 on the weekly. Remove this old markup. So let's look and see what we got. All right, so we are in the weekly. We can see we're extremely bullish in the weekly. No, I take that back. We bearish. We broke structure, because we can see we got these higher highs and higher lows. We had a break of structure right here. Price decided to pull back for the retest and started to dip to the downside. Okay, so we're in bearish momentum from a weekly perspective. Let's look at this on a daily. Okay, so let's choose our last points on the daily. We can see right here, this is our daily lower low. Okay, this is our last lower low point here. We have a lower high that was in this area right here. And we had another one in this area right here. Okay, so that's our daily structure. Lower low. Hold on. Actually, lower high, lower low. Yeah, it's right here. I'm sorry, you guys. It's right there. Okay, so let's look at this. So we have our daily structure. Let's drop to the 4 hour. And as we can see on the 4 hour time frame, we're ready to start looking for another lower high. Because what do we have on the 4 hour time frame? We can see that we got a break of structure right off the rip. So if we look at this, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, break of structure on the 4 hour time frame. Okay, 4 hour break of structure. This is turning out to be a pretty nice trade, like pretty clean market structure on Nas 100. So a couple of confluences that we can see right off the rip. Let's throw our fibs on there to see where we are, because we're starting to get pulled back. Okay, right here at the 61.8, I have an imbalance right here. Imbalance right here at the 61.8, which is a pretty good confluence. Okay, so price can possibly dip into this area and then shoot to the upside. We do right here at the 50%, we do have a demand zone here. We don't want to negate that. We want to look at it because it is there. We don't want to miss anything. This is a demand zone in this area. And so for me, I would like to pull my demand zone up just to cover this small imbalance. So I'll use my demand zone for this entire area. Make sure I'm covering this small imbalance here. So with this, I'll be looking for price to shoot down to this area here. However, we can possibly capitalize on some downward movement. So let's kind of look at price just to see exactly what we have. Let's stop at the 15-minute first. Higher high. Higher low, higher high. From a 15-minute perspective, let's mark that on there. That way we can notate where we are. Okay. So we want to mark on our 15-minute structure. That way we can see where we are. So if you guys can see this from a 15-minute perspective, the moves are huge, but we got to make sure that we don't fake ourselves out. Okay. So we got a higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay. So we want to make sure we're not getting faked out from all of these small, noise up in this area here, because you can see that we came down here and it broke through. So this is possibly another, this might be making another higher high, or it might break structure here to come down to this area. So we just want to be mindful of that the market don't fake us out. So we want to see, because we can see that we're up in this area here. So if price come down, it's going to probably come in this area, whatever, do what it's going to do, come back, and then come down to this area, and then maybe shoot back up. We don't know exactly what it's going to do just yet, but we can see still kind of sort of in bullish momentum, but we had this break of structure, so price possibly is going to pull back now. Okay, if that makes sense. And then what we can do with this, when price pulls back, gives us this break of structure on the 15-minute, we understand that we'll start to get into our golden zone and all of that, and then we can possibly ride it back up once we get that those areas of confluence. But for me, I would like to see it come down to the 61.8. This is a bigger confluence for me. I like this area down here, because if it comes down here, then we know we can probably get that push to the upside. And where can we actually ride this to? Now we can ride it literally to this 0.0 here, this 13,000 area. That's the liquidity area that we can take it out for. Or you could drive it to this 134 area right here, which is the -27, because that's the TP. That's where we actually looking to go. Ultimate goal, yeah, that's what we're looking to do. We can capture it in the area there. Another thing that we can look at for another confluence on this NAS 100, if we take our fibs from this daily lower high down to this daily lower low, we can see price is going to pull back in this area here, and as we're getting this creation of another daily lower high, it's going to come somewhere up in this area here. My guess would be this imbalance all the way up in this area, right around this 14100 area. So that will be probably our ultimate TP that we'll be looking for to make a lower high on the daily. But from a perspective of right now, I will probably be patient where it is and wait for it to get down to this area here. So you can set an alert possibly at 12,350 area. Alert at 12,350. That way you'll know when price is starting to get 50% within this fib, and you can start looking at to see exactly what price is going to do. My guess and my hope is for price to actually come down to this area, tap off this 61.8, and then give us a break of structure, retest, and then start to shoot to the upside. That's what I would like to see. Hey Dale, man, I hope that helps with Nas 100. But yeah, this got some clean market structure. Let me put this alert on here. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. 350 right here. Nas 100 approaching POI. Oh crap, man. All right, just at 350. Okay. All right, you guys. Shoot, man, it was great rocking with you guys today. Today was a pretty good day, pretty long day. We got some confluences within the market that we can look for. Like I said, I'm gonna be extremely active in the chat this week. So hopefully we can get back to it, grind, and get some good trades for the entire group. And hey, you guys, like always, I appreciate you guys rocking with me today. And y'all have a great Sunday. And I'll see you guys this week.